Hey, how's everybody doing today? It's Green Thumb Prepper here. Thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a tutorial on how I grow and prune indeterminate tomato varieties. So as you can see, there's two right there. They're growing in my greenhouse. I've had these things growing 2.5 months now, and they are 6 feet tall. This is a 6 foot tall greenhouse, and these tomatoes are hitting the top. So an indeterminate tomato only grows out of the growth tip. Way up there. Right there. So if you guys are growing indeterminate tomatoes, let's say on stakes, and they're hitting close to the top of your stake, if you want, all you have to do is pinch that little tiny growth tip up at the top, and these things will just stop growing. The only issue is if you're growing indeterminate tomatoes, if you pinch that growth tip off, when your fruit set hits the top of there, your plant is pretty much shot, right? It's done. Won't put off any more fruit. So I single stem mine, which means you've got your vine, right? Because the indeterminates grow just like a vine. You follow the vine up, and in the crotches of all of the branches, see, you'll have your branch here with your sun leaves on it, and then here's your sucker right here. Okay, they always grow right in the crotch. Don't let those things grow. They will grow into a completely new vine. You'll have to tie it up. They fall over, it turns into a massive jungle. Look at this, guys. Just to prove the viability of growing like this, we have tomatoes. Check that out. In a greenhouse, and outside, looks like that. I got 2 feet of snow out there, right? So when you're growing your indeterminate tomatoes and you're single stemming them like I do, normally if we were outside, I would have all the leaves trimmed off up to the bottom of my first fruit set. So if we were outside, there's my first fruit set on the vine. I would have all the leaves below that trimmed off. So what would end up happening is after I harvest that fruit set, I would then continue trimming all the leaves off up till the next fruit set. So that would be right there, right? So you would just have a big empty vine, and you just let everything else grow except for these suckers. Don't let these things grow, right? So you just come in, and all I do when you're outside, I just use my fingers inside here. I'm using these. They're titanium coated, spring loaded. These things are great, and they're sharp, so watch your fingers. But you don't want to let these grow, because this little thing here will grow into a whole other new plant if you let it. And you'll reduce the amount of fruit that grows on your main vine, because you're literally forcing the plant to reroute nutrients to grow you more fruit on all those suckers, and those suckers will also grow more suckers. It just turns into a crazy, crazy, crazy jungle. So out here on that metal that you see right there, right? I routinely hit 8 to 13 foot tomato plants growing up those things. So you have to tie them, right? In here, I'm just using twist ties. I'm using the roll, so you can just cut it off. This stuff's great. You know, you don't have to put it on tight. It's easy to take off at the end of the season. So, you know, every 8-10 inches, I tie it up, and they'll just grow and grow and grow and grow. And for you guys that are wondering about how to pollinate your tomato plants, everybody is worried about blossom end rot. And everybody thinks that it has a huge amount to do with the amount of calcium that you have in your garden. So everybody's always screaming, put eggshells in, extra calcium, tons of calcium. yeah, tomato plants are going to need some calcium, right? It's kind of part of the biology of a tomato plant. But what I do is I dry eggshells over the winter time, and I just keep them in the freezer. And then in the springtime, I throw them all in my oven, put them on about 200 degrees, 250 degrees for about 20 minutes. Then I take the eggshells and I put them in a coffee mill, and I grind those things into powder. And then I put about a teaspoon of powdered eggshells in the bottom of each one of my planting holes. But to combat blossom end rot, the biggest reason you will get that is because of improperly pollinated tomatoes. You want to see the easiest way to do it? You ready? And you'll get almost 100% tomatoes every time from your flowers. It's a little hard to do, guys, because this thing is so thin, but you'll get the idea, right? Get those little tomato plants jiggling around, and there's male and female sex organs in each one of your tomato flowers, right? So right now, just by doing this, I'm pretty much guaranteeing that all of those tomato flowers that are open right now are going to produce me tomatoes. Where's that little one? There we are. See these? Same thing. Just came up here, did the little vibration with my finger, and it doesn't have to be hard, right? You're not really trying to bang the plant around. All you're doing is trying to send some vibrations up that tomato flower. And that's how I got all of these. Just hand pollinate them like that. Just jiggle them. Some people will also go to a pharmacy or Walmart and they'll buy a really cheap vibrating toothbrush, and they'll just hold the toothbrush right on the stem, and the micro vibrations will just trigger all that pollen release out of there as well. So you want your tomatoes, they like their soil a little acidic, between 6 and 7. So if you do a pH test, you can get pH test meters. You can get the little strips like you'd use in your swimming pool. So you want your soil between 6 and 7. So if you want to alter your pH one way or another, you can put sulfur in it to bring it down, or you can put lime in it to bring it back up again. I don't normally do that. It's not really worthwhile for me because I have a set tomato bed where I cater my soil to my tomatoes specifically. But you can do that. From what I hear in the US, you can send your soil to your local county extension office. I'm in Canada. I don't think we have that. We can send our soils to universities and stuff. They'll do testing for us. But I don't go that route. But what can happen is if your pH is not where your plants want it to be, an altered pH, if the pH for your tomatoes is too high, it will inhibit nutrient uptake into your tomatoes. That's what pH really comes down to, is nutrient uptake. So if your pH is all out of whack and you can't figure out why your plants aren't growing right, do a pH test on that. See what your soil is doing. You never know. You may have made some compost, or you may have put some soil amendments in there that have really thrown your pH out of balance. And pH is pretty specific for certain types of plants. So you need to make sure that your pH is in a range where your plants are happy with that. So just a quick update on growing tomatoes. So guys, this is totally possible. I'm using dual bulb shop lights with 32 watt T8 bulbs in them and 4-foot T5s, right? And I just kind of put this together to see if it was doable. So with LED lights and a little bit of a longer time frame, you would absolutely be able to be eating food out of this. The whole garden here is coming down in a couple of days because the owner of the tent wants their tent back. So in the meantime, I'm just going to do a couple of videos out of here and show you guys what is possible. So on this side, we're growing sugar lump. These are sugar lump cherry tomatoes, and they grow in clusters just like grapes. They're fantastic. And on this side, we're growing San Marzano tomatoes, which are the #1 tomato made for growing and making spaghetti sauce. See? Got a little San Marzano growing there. Unfortunately, these tomatoes that are in here will not end up getting ripe because I got to tear this whole thing down. But yep, so there's a super basic guide on how to grow indeterminate tomato varieties. I hope you guys find this useful. If you have any information or if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up, send me a message, get in touch with me, and like, follow, and subscribe for some more videos. All right, guys, have a great day. See ya.